We begin with sad news. Portland Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has died at the age of 65. Mr. Allen recently tweeted that his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma had returned. He was the co-founder of Microsoft and heavily involved in sports ownership, from the Blazers to the Seattle Seahawks to the Seattle Sounders. His sister Jody issued a statement saying, quote, "My brother was a remarkable individual on every level. While most knew Paul was a technological philanthropist, for us, he was a much-loved brother and uncle, an exceptional friend," end quote. And Paul Allen, as you can see, the many ownership opportunities that he had, and just a terrible, terrible loss as we come to you live here on Game Time. And Adam Silver released a statement saying Paul was the ultimate trailblazer in business, philanthropy, and in sports. As one of the longest tenured owners in the NBA, Paul brought a sense of discovery and vision to every league matter, large and small. He was generous with his time on committee work, and his expertise helped lay the foundation for the league's growth internationally and our embrace of new technologies. He was a valued voice who challenged assumptions and conventional wisdom, and one we will deeply miss as we start a new season without him. Our condolences go to his family, friends, and the entire Trailblazers organization. And we are joined by Kevin McHale and Isiah Thomas. Gentlemen, how will you remember the late, great Paul Allen?
I mean, there's so many good things that he's done with his life. I mean, Microsoft has touched everybody's life in the world, and he being one of the co-founders. And then when you look at what he was able to do locally for two cities, in terms of Seattle with the Seahawks, in terms of the Trailblazers, the entertainment that he provided, the life that he led, and the life that he's allowed a lot of us to lead, you know, from Microsoft to sports and entertainment. I mean, he truly was a trailblazer, a pioneer, and a visionary for all of us.
Yeah, I remember he was the first of the Silicon Valley guys to kind of come in young. Heck, years ago, he's had that team for almost 30 years, I think. And he was a young man when he bought the team. I remember thinking saying, how can a young guy like that have that much money? But, you know, he built the Rose Garden out there. He just did a lot of stuff for Portland, the Portland Trailblazers. And he's going to be missed. Just a sad day. 65 is just way too young.
Well said, Kevin. Well said. And Clippers owner and former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, obviously very close to Mr. Allen, tweeted, "Paul was a truly wonderful, bright, and inspiring person and a great friend. I will miss him." And now joining us on the phone is former Trailblazers player from 1998 to 2001, and of course current NBA TV analyst Greg Anthony. And GA, first of all, condolences to you and the family and friends of Paul Allen.
Yeah, it really is a sad day for the Trailblazer family, and just hearing Kevin and Isiah touch upon, you know, obviously what he was able to be a part of in building Microsoft. But, you know, I know a few billionaires, but I don't know anybody any more humble than Paul Allen was. Gracious with his time, you know, never was about him. It was always about the organization, from my standpoint, being the Trailblazers. Not only did he spare no expense monetarily, but really spared no expense in terms of his commitment to the franchise and to the city of Portland. Tremendously sad to have him pass at the ripe young age of 65. Just a lot of wonderful memories. We were fortunate enough. We used to practice every year at his home in Seattle, just outside of Seattle, when we go up and play the Sonics. And what an amazing treat. He basically built a replica of our practice facility at his home. And so we'd go there every year for a practice, and that's when you really kind of got to spend time with him where his guard was down, and, you know, we could ask him questions. And, you know, I was just in shock when I heard the news today. It is, you know, so much excitement and anticipation for the upcoming season throughout the league, obviously in Portland as well, and to have something like this transpire, it's truly sad, but definitely we have to appreciate all that he's meant, not just for the Blazers, but for the NBA as a whole. If you think about the growth our league has experienced since he's become a part of the league, it's pretty monumental, and he is one of those trailblazers, no pun intended, and his legacy will live for a very long time.
GA, how will the history books define Mr. Allen's ownership of the Portland Trail Blazers?
I think he was class personified. If you think about it, he was one of the first guys. I remember when I got there, you know, private travel was kind of coming into vogue. It was becoming more popular. And what happens is, you know, the players talk, right? Like, you know, what kind of practice facility you guys have and what plane are you on? And, you know, Mr. Allen we had a 757. That's the team plane. Okay, so it was a pretty cool experience. And every now and then our plane, you know, you'd have to have service or whatever. And we get to use his 757, which was decked out completely different. Ours was nice, don't get me wrong, but his was incredible. But he was just a gracious, generous human being. And you heard the statement from Adam Silver, from the commissioner. You know, a lot of the things he did, a lot of our fans, while they get to appreciate it now, had no idea that he was at the forefront in terms of the technological advances, that he really provided a lot of guidance to the commissioner and to the league office on. That guy was incredible. If you think about it, you know, we have a lot of faces of our league. Mark Cuban stands out. Steve Ballmer, his former partner, is one of those guys, you know, that they're kind of out there. He was the exact opposite. He was really behind the scenes, never wanted any attention, really wanted it to be about the team, the organization, the players, the city. And I think that's something that will even be more so appreciated in his absence. Just an incredible person, you know. And again, in a time where it's harder to have such a successful franchise in a smaller market, the Blazers have thrived. They prospered, and a lot of that is because of his belief in that team and in that city.
G.A., thank you so much for the time. It's obviously a tremendously difficult day, but we appreciate it, and we will talk to you very soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Over the course of several decades, Paul Allen gave more than $2 billion to a wide range of interests, including ocean health, homelessness, and advancing scientific research. Today, he is gone at the age of 65. He will be dearly missed. Here are the winning percentages for dynastic teams who won 3 titles in a 4-season span, and the Warriors lead the way at an 808 clip over the past 4 seasons. Pretty impressive to lead a list featuring the Big Three Celtics with my man Kevin McHale, the Showtime Lakers, and the Jordan Pippen Bulls. And this season is another chance for 29 teams to try and put a dent into the Golden State Warriors dynasty. Let the chess match begin.
The king, the sovereign, the ruler of the realm. In front of the entire watching world, a king confirmed his eternal place in history. And ascending to the throne for a 3rd time in his reign.
The Golden State Warriors champions once again.
This is his dominion now, and it is indeed noble company he is keeping. And yet his rule still stretches far off into the distance with no setting sun in sight.
The one-time darlings are now a dynasty.
Well before this royal run began, there were a series of quietly brilliant machinations that charted the course to this worldly domination.
Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green.
Unseen fingers at the controls, thinking 3 moves ahead. And now, 3 championships later, fruits of their strategic labor, assembling like jewels in a king's crown.
Back to back! Crazy in here. It's crazy in here.
The manic quality this new up and down game demands. A synergistic symphony of controlled chaos defines this unprecedented success.
Oh, it's Dollar with a facial.
The moves an opponent sees coming, but cannot answer for. And the moves that appear out of the shadows that no one ever expects.
I'm super excited, man. I'm pumped to get started.
And now, a new battle for supremacy commences. 29 pursuers covet the honor the crown bestows. Hungry newcomers are now closing in, focused, determined, intent on checking this march to greatness and stealing the crown for their own. All dynasties have an arc, a beginning, middle, and end. But what if you redefine the arc? What if you reinvent the arc? What if you own the arc?
With the talent they've accumulated, they're on the verge of a dynasty.
This is the moment the realization washes over his rivals. The king has fully remade the game in his image, as his adversaries are swept one by one off the board. This is the machine in motion. This is the engine churning towards new horizons, all the while chasing the echoes of glory
And the Pelic have done it again.
from ancestral monarchies of long ago. It's a regal endeavor, a sacred covenant all the greats share in. The chance to stake a claim on hallowed ground. The chance to stake a claim to a place in history.
And Tuesday is ring night on TNT as the Warriors will get their championship rings before running with the Thunder at 10:30 Eastern. The TNT doubleheader and the season starts with the 76ers and Celtics in a rematch of last year's second-round playoff series at 8 Eastern. Steve Kerr is an 8-time champion, 5 as a player, 3 as Warriors coach, and Sunday he spoke with the media about the state of his team.
Obviously, we've got a lot of continuity with our core group. Staying healthy is going to be huge. It always is. And then bringing these young guys along is going to be important. So, like I said, we'll start it up Tuesday night and see where we are and go from there.
As one who's played with dynasties, and in the vein of that line of questioning, given the economics of the game, is there any thought that maybe this is like maybe the last go around with this core group?
No.
No?
So Coach Kerr doesn't want to give any thought into that, but we can give thought to that. Rick Kamla, Isiah Thomas, Kevin McHale. And you heard in the piece, very dramatic, by the way, very well done, about the arc. Okay, so where are the Warriors here? Are they at the top of the arc? Is the arc starting to come down? Are they at the beginning of the arc? Where are they right now?
I would say it's starting to come down. I mean, I went to the finals 3 straight years, and Kevin, you went there like
4.
8 times.
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
And
4 straight years.
But you never know, and I think for he and I sitting here, for us it was injuries, that got us at the end. But I remember when you guys were right in the middle of your run. You got the #1 pick and you got Len Bias, right? And we thought, no one's ever going to beat the Celtics. So, the unknown is really what comes back to get you and bite you. You can prepare for everything, but the unintended consequences, those are the things that kind of get you and bite you, and the things that you're just not prepared for. Injury, in your case, death, things happen.
Yeah, no question. I think they're probably on the downside of the arc. I really do, because they've had a good run. Like with the Celtics, the run that they were on, that was like a 1980 through 87, right around there. That's a long run of being in the finals and winning, but that came to an end through injuries. In today's game, they could, the salary cap and a lot of different issues. I mean, it could come to an end by couple free agents leaving. I mean, say KD wants to go, maybe Klay Thompson or wherever. A lot of things happen, but it's all of the stuff that you don't know what's going to happen. Injuries, like you said, Zeke. Or there's sometimes just a team gets on fire. You're out there playing really well, and all of a sudden some team catches fire. I know the '83 Philly team for us, with Moses, they just were like a team of destiny. They stayed healthy. Everybody else was getting hurt. But they just got on a run, and you weren't going to beat them. So there's a lot of stuff that happens inside of this. But right now, going into the season, I'd be hard. I could not say there's one team I can look at, say they can beat Golden State. Yeah.
Including the Minnesota Timberwolves, who right now are the team dealing with the most drama entering the season because Jimmy Butler wants out, and they haven't been able to work out a trade yet. And per The Athletic, in terms of the Jimmy Butler situation, Wolves owner Glenn Taylor met with Butler on Sunday morning. They came to an agreement. The team will try to trade him, but Butler has to be a good teammate and play hard. And here's Butler following Sunday's practice.
They want me to go out here and hoop. Go out here and hoop to the best of my abilities, make sure I'm healthy. compete because that's what I love to do, go up against the best because that's what I love to do, and do it for the guys that's in the same jerseys as me.
Jimmy, can you tell us why you wanted to be traded?
No, I cannot.
Do you still want to be traded?
Maybe. I'm going to be passive-aggressive like everybody else is here.
Do you expect to be traded?
Maybe.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you play through
Maybe.
any frustrations that are coming from your situation?
Me?
Yeah.
I go out there and play no matter what. I love the game of basketball. In between those lines, everything is pure. Like, whatever's bothering me, whenever I step onto that floor, whether I'm working out by myself, I'm playing 3-on-3, one-on-one, it's basketball. Like, I don't think about anything except for getting a stop, scoring a basket, getting it, whatever it may be. I just want to win. So whenever I'm out there, it's all about winning.
So if you are with this team as the season starts and you're playing and things go remarkably well to start, could you see your perception of this franchise changing from being front of ball?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to dribble tomorrow. So I can't tell you what's going to happen in the near future. I don't know. All I know is I'm going to go home, eat me some lunch, make me my own latte because I'm good at it, and enjoy the rest of my day.
Is it a small group of teams that you'd want to be traded to, or a big group? Does it matter much?
Why y'all so focused on this trading stuff? We got a game in, 3 days, 2 days?
Just tell us that you want to be here for the year.
No, tell me your social security number. Like, there's just things you don't want to say.
Does it strike you guys? That was odd right there. That was very odd because there is a controversy going on, but Jimmy didn't really want to talk about it. And Kevin, former coach, former general manager of the Minnesota Timberwolves, you worked with and had a great relationship with Glenn Taylor. You know, you can categorize it the way you want, but at this point, what is your read on Glenn Taylor, Tom Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler v. the world?
Well, that was an odd interview, by the way. I'm going to look at this thing, first of all, from a player standpoint. If I'm a fellow player with him, he doesn't come to practice for 3 weeks, comes in one day, goes off and starts yelling at everybody. I'm like looking at him. I'm not, as a player, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm looking and say, that's not going to fly. You're out of here, man. And so as a player, I'd be really disappointed. And then he's going to call a players-only meeting the next day. He hasn't been around, no training camp, no nothing. I'd have been in that meeting long enough to tell him to kiss my backside and then walked out. Because I'm like, nah, man, if you want to be part of this team, then you got to be part of this team. So looking at it from a player standpoint, I'd be really upset if my teammate did that. From a coaching standpoint, like, there's no way I would start him and play him if I was a coach. I would just say, no, you're going to have to earn that. And earning that I don't care what you did last year. You got to earn that again this year. Every year you start anew. Every year, I tell you, I played with one of the best players who ever played the game, Larry Bird. There would be some poor rookie from some school, and Larry would just hammer the guy. And I look at Larry, I go, what are you doing? He goes, I don't want that guy to even think he's going to get 1 minute of my time. And I mean, so every year you start anew. So if you're a coach, you're like, no. These guys that have been here, this group, they're going to start. You're going to come off the bench. You're going to do whatever. As a GM, I'm trying to trade him, right? Like, I'm looking at this thing saying, if it's not going to work, if a guy tells you I'm a free agent and I'm going to leave in a year, you got to trade him. Otherwise, you just got to say, you know what, I'll use that cap space. Okay, if I want to use the cap space. But they're already tied up with cap space by giving it to Wiggins and Towns. So they're in a funny situation. Getting back to your original question with Glenn, I think Glenn would probably like to have this thing move, get some pieces, and build around Karl Anthony Towns and just see what type of team you can be building around Karl Anthony Towns. But to sum things up, that's a three-ring circus, man. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah. But I mean, you've said a lot, and you've definitely, said a lot of things that I want to say. And I just go back to the point that you was making about being a teammate, right? And as a teammate, I would want him. We all understand the contract. We all understand the money.
Yeah.
But show up and be a good teammate.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to grade school and high school. That was the first thing we were taught, right?
Yep.
It's not about how good you can play. It's not about how many points you can score. It's not about how many rebounds you get. It really is the first prerequisite of being on a team is, can you be a good teammate?
Yeah.
Can you be a good teammate that we can trust and that we can go out here and execute a game plan? Or are you going to be the type of teammate that goes out and execute your game plan? You look good, you get your numbers, right?
Yep.
You get your numbers, you look good, and the rest of the team you're saying sucks.
Mm-hmm.
To me right now, the position that Butler has put his teammates in is a unbelievable bad situation, because now the teammates every single night has got to answer for you when you can stand up in front of the camera and be passive aggressive and say maybe, maybe. But if you really stand up, then stand up. And the other thing I have to say is, you know, we always thought that Tibbs was the tough, no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
And now for Tibbs to be in this position with Butler, a guy that he went out and vouched for, wanted to bring to his team, now it looks like Tibbs is not the disciplinarian that we thought he was, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, there are soap operas in the NBA, and then there is what's going on in Minnesota right now. But it is what it is, and we'll be following it here on Game Time throughout the season. And here's what's ahead on Game Time. Kyrie Irving is healthy and happy in Boston as the Celtics have lofty goals entering this season. Also, Kevin and Isiah will break down the next step for Philly's dynamic duo of Simmons and Embiid, and we will preview the season for LeBron and the Lakers. We are back with a look at the longest title droughts for the C's, and they're currently in the midst of the second longest drought in franchise history, topped only by the 21-year title drought before KG, Pierce, Ray, and Rondo won it all in 2008. Celtics fans are passionate and ready for more rings in Beantown.
What makes Boston a great sports town is people's passion.
The competitive spirit in this town is
so intense.
Ruthless.
Is second to none. You live and die, you breathe by your sports teams.
You got to show up every day. You got to win.
We are winners.
A blue-collar atmosphere. It's more than skin deep for us.
This is Title Town.
This is Championship City.
Most championships in the history of the league.
No one loves their sports teams more than Boston loves the Celtics.
The Celtics are sort of the dynasty of the NBA.
We bleed green.
Anywhere in the city you can see somebody wearing a Celtics jersey.
All the championships, the history we have here.
Boston Celtics have won it.
There's Kyrie Irving. Boy, he is so smooth at handling the ball.
How good is Kyrie Irving?
He's the best, man. You can't beat him.
One of the greatest point guards in the league right now. Top 5, in my opinion.
An incredible player who does incredible things.
Once again.
He does things with basketball that you don't ever see anywhere else.
The way he controls the ball, the way he makes his moves, he's just unpredictable.
He can take over a game in a heartbeat.
The energy in the garden watching Kyrie play.
It's like nothing else in the NBA.
How excited are these fans to see Gordon Hayward?
Gordon Hayward is back.
You know, it was kind of like a big tease.
He was our biggest free agent signing in a long time. Everyone was really excited to see him.
It was just put on hold last year, and this is the moment everyone's waiting for.
Another superstar caliber player to this team.
Confidence and that extra swag.
Leadership.
We're just so excited that he's healthy and ready to play.
Extremely excited.
The city of Boston's ready to have Gordon Hayward on this team.
Here's Tatum. Wow. Throw it downside.
This young kid does not look like a rookie.
Tatum's game is off the charts.
I don't think anyone expected him to be that good.
He can do it all.
He's a veteran already.
It's amazing to see a 19-year-old rookie come in by the end of the season in that fourth quarter, dunking on LeBron James in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
Talk about the future. These young guys are flat out playing.
Jaylen Brown scorching the Nets. Just his second year.
I was very surprised by the young guns without Hayward and Kyrie towards the end of the year.
They played like seasoned veterans.
They truly rose to the occasion.
Everyone believed they were going to be good. I don't believe anybody thought they would be as good as they were.
So exciting to watch. They're so young. They have so much to offer. Truly stars in the making.
They really proved that they belong in the league.
Terry rises up in the fourth.
Within the next 5 years, they're going to be unstoppable.
The Celtics could easily be going into another dynasty.
We have another dynasty on our hands.
The Celtics, the greatest sports dynasty in the history of professional athletics.
I think that we have a winning spirit. Everyone really buys into the system that we have in place.
There's no reason we shouldn't be in the finals if not winning.
I expect a championship.
If we stay healthy, I think it's nothing but a championship.
Win a championship.
To win the NBA championship. Banner number 18.
This is the 16th time I've done this. Each time it gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter.
Another championship for Boston would just solidify our status as the best sports town in America.
The Celtics, they have done it again.
Once again, the world champion.
We are the greatest city in sports right now.
Add another one to the greatest sports city in the world.
Who knows? This year, they may be able to have a parade, taste the champagne, as Kevin McHale did many, many times as a Boston Celtics player. But I want to get a point guard talking about a point guard. Kyrie Irving, just a week or so ago, said, don't worry, Boston fans, I'm signing long. He said something like, if you'll have me, I want to stay. Of course they want him. What does a message like that mean to his team going into this year?
It's extremely important. I mean, he's the best player on the team, and he has the most championship experience. And he's showing the teammates in the organization that he's all in. And if he's all in and committed, then everyone else has to fall in line. So that's a big step forward for not only the Celtics and him and the organization, you know, on their march to some type of championship, you know, maybe title. And I say title reluctantly because I'm sitting next to McHale.
I know. Old rivalries die hard, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you know, we got suits on now, but if he put on 32 in Celtics and I had on Pistons 11, we'd both be sitting here like this. He'd be facing the other way. We probably wouldn't speak to each other.
Well, then let's not bring Scottie Pippen in the mix. It'll get really, really weird, okay? I want to talk to you about Gordon Hayward, okay? 5 minutes into last year, the leg breaks, misses the entire year. Now he's back. All the reports are good that he's healthy. What are your expectations for him, an all-star before he got hurt this year?
I think he'll start off a little bit slower. It takes a while to get your confidence back. I saw some exhibition games. He was rebounding the ball well, but he wasn't exploding to the basket. And they have so much internal competition on that team. Like, you go to practice every single day. You got Hayward, Tatum, Brown. These guys smart. There's so much. So you've really got to play well if you're out there. So I think what's going to happen with him, he'll get better as the season gets on. But that internal competition is the best thing for you because it makes you up your game. Like, you come to the bench and all of a sudden you sit there and Brown and Tatum start going off. You're like, man, hey, I got what? See, you went through Zeke a little bit with that with Vinny and Joe. Yeah. And there were nights where Cedric Maxwell and different guys, and you know, we had Bill Walton, and there were nights like those guys were playing better than you. You're like, I got to amp my game up because if I don't play well, the coach has got options.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of options there. So I think he'll start off slow, but I expect him to finish off very strong and that whole group to play really well.
And you don't want to be that guy sitting on the bench waving a towel while everybody else is getting off.
Exactly.
All right, when Game Time bounces back, we will hit the court to demonstrate the next steps for Philly stars Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I recommend you don't go anywhere.
These two, what a combination they have.
Embiid throwing it down. Compliments of Simmons. And Embiid off the Simmons feed.
Up top, Embiid from Simmons.
Simmons in transition. What a pass to Embiid, my goodness!
Not too long ago, it was Blake Griffin and Chris Paul in L.A. with the must-see TV thing. Now it's Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. Look at these huge numbers put up last year. 23, 11, and 2 with the blocks for Embiid. 16, 8, and 8 for Ben Simmons. And by the way, he almost had 2 steals per game last year, bringing that D with all the slick passing as we bring you back to Game Time. Rick Kamla, Isiah Thomas, and Kevin McHale. And you spent some time with Joel Embiid this summer. What did y'all talk about? And, you know, a lot of guys have gone to Hakeem Olajuwon over the years to get better as a big man. Are you going to be that new guy, the big man guru?
No, we just spent some time talking actually last spring, you know, and I just told him some things about being a little bit more aggressive on the post and he's got so much skill. He's got beautiful touch, and you'll see in this video we're about to show, he's got the ability to do a lot of stuff. See, I like this right here, Zeke. Look, he's putting pressure on the defense. Where does he end up at the rim? Starts out at 12, 14 feet. Again, he gets down in the post, and you can just see he's got the ability just to blow by people. He's just got nice footwork, nice little jab to the middle, came baseline and dunked it. And then, you know, down here, you got to, if you can shoot the ball, you can pump fake. So he's able to make jump shots. So now he's able to pump him up, get him in the old up and under, and slide underneath the guy. But the one thing that I talked to him about a lot was getting a spot on the floor. And having a spot where the coach says, I know I can give you the ball. Remember the old Showtime Lakers? That was all up and down until they needed 2 points.
Number 33 got it.
Yeah, right here with the goggles, and he gave it to you. So I said to him, come over here on this side of the floor. Get the ball, Joel. Now, the first thing you saw him rip through, get the ball, reverse pivot, drop the ball here in front of you. And so on this move, I could get fouled anytime through this rip through. So it's a hard drop right here. I'm getting to right here. Now I'm going to set you here with a little bit of a, shake, and I'm getting into my jump hook. His ability to make shots right here is phenomenal. And here's the analytics have come into play. If you're a guard, you're saying, I only got to make 4 out of 10 shots to get 12 points.
Right.
If you're in here, you got to make 6 out of 10 to get 12. I said, here's the deal, Joel. Get so good that every time you touch the ball, you're getting 14, 15, 16 points in here on your 10 possessions. They'll go to you down here. So a jump hook. So watch for him this year to get that right-handed jump hook. Work that reverse pivot through. Ball into the middle. Get in here. Set it up. And go up and go over the top. He's got a beautiful touch. He does that. It's amazing.
Quickly, do you want him taking less threes, same threes, more threes?
I want him taking more shots in the post.
I understand.
Yes.
Let's talk Ben Simmons. Let's get a little point guard action going here. In the offseason, great players like you guys add one thing, one layer, one nuance to your game. What's next for Ben Simmons?
When I spoke to Ben Simmons when he came here, I told him the most important thing for him I thought he had to improve at was the foul line. And the reason why he has to improve at the foul line, if you're a point guard, you close out games at the foul line. At the end of the game, they put the ball in your hand. Your responsibility as a go-to player, you got to be able to make free throws. You got to be able to get your own shot and not turn the ball over. And if Ben Simmons wants to be a go-to player at the end of the game, he's got to improve at the foul line. Now, what is he good at? What he's really good at is taking little guys into the post. I don't think he needs to get a jump shot. I think he needs to keep pounding guys in the post. We see how big he is inside. He has a size advantage, and this is where he's really smart. He draws 2 defenders on the fast break, and he knows he's got 2 lane runners running in terms of Embiid. Again, he's got a small guy into the post. Look how big he is, and he can keep scoring down in the post a la Magic Johnson. Now, what Magic Johnson became good at, Magic Johnson became a 90% foul shooter. Ben Simmons takes the ball to the basket when he's got a bigger defender on him. He gets fouled, and if Ben Simmons can become an 80% foul shooter, they will win probably 5 to 6 more games and potentially can upset the Celtics and go to the finals if he becomes a better foul shooter.
Great advice. I mean, we're thinking about mid-range jumpers and the three-point shot. Zeke says, hey, just shoot free throws better. And it's time for a break here on Game Time. Coming up next, we preview LeBron James and the Lakers, who are primed to end their playoff drought. Stay right where you are.
Stopping to talk about LeBron and the move. He is on his way to the Lakers 4 years. $154 million.
LeBron James, he's the one guy that has truly bet on himself.
The domino effect of what LeBron James does and has done is going to ripple this league for the next 4 years in ways that we probably would not have thought of.
LeBron's regular season debut with the purple and gold goes down Thursday on TNT with the Blazers hosting them at 10:30 Eastern. The Bulls and Sixers from Philadelphia. Thursday, doubleheader on TNT featuring the King and Rick Kamla, Isaiah Thomas, and Kevin McHale. Very simply, are the Lakers a top 4 team in the West, or are they in the race for 8?
I wouldn't say they're top 4. I'm going to go top 6.
Okay.
I think LeBron James somehow figures out a way to win 50 games every year, and I think he'll figure out a way to win 50 again this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be a playoff team, and I think that you don't want to play LeBron James in a playoff series. I don't care if you're the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed or 3. He brings a whole different dimension to the game, and he's found a way to take a lot of different players and bring them to the finals and bring them a lot of success. He'll do the same thing with the Lakers, and they'll win. I agree, 50 plus games.
I thought for sure you were going to say he took Boobie Gibson to the.
I didn't say Boobie Gibson, only because I always say Boobie Gibson, and you always look at me. So I said I'm not saying Boobie Gibson.
That's your go-to.
Zeke always gives me the Boobie Gibson. Yeah, I didn't use it though.
Who's the most important Laker not named LeBron?
I am going to say Ingram. I think if he has a breakout season scoring-wise, I think he can be that guy for them.
I think Ball. I think Ball's got to be able to run the court, just do a lot of stuff, move the ball, and his jump shot's got to improve some. But I think Ball's just a very dynamic player, can take a lot of pressure off of LeBron having to handle all the time. If they get up and down and run the way they were in exhibition season, it's going to be fun to watch.
Quickly, does LeBron play center this year for the Lakers?
I think he likes to talk about playing center. He could have played center in the East.
Yeah.
But in the West, he can't mess with the Joker, okay? He can't mess with, the big boys they got. The West got some big boys, Cousins is over there now. I mean, he don't want to mess with that 5 spot in the West.
All right, coming up next on Game Time, we have officiating VP Monty McCutchen. He joins us to talk about points of emphasis for the upcoming season. You don't want to miss this.
Our fouls this year, end of story. Put air in the whistle, blow it. First one, let's go obvious. Corey Joseph understands that he's beat on the switch. Rodney's going to slip, and we get the tug. Pretty easy, right? Well, we would all call that a wrap. It's a hold, really. But do you see the wrap there on the hip? That's what we're looking for this year.
That is Vice President of Referee Development and Training and longtime NBA referee Monty McCutchen, who joins us now to talk about points of emphasis for the upcoming season. So, Monty, let's start with freedom of movement. What is going on there?
Well, we met throughout the year with our competition committee, which is made up of owners, general managers, coaches, and players. There's referees on it, Mark Davis and Jason Phillips as non-voting members to give a refereeing perspective. But the real basketball people of our league realized that some of the rules that we have on the books and have been on the books for many years were not being stringently enough enforced. And our role then, when we come out of those competition committees, is to be the adjudicators, to be the enforcers of the things that our game has slipped in. And in this case, freedom of movement, we realize that through some of the coaching perspective that our league is changing. In particular, our defensive schemes are changing to where there's more switching, and as such, there are certain ways that we were informed that coaches like to attack those switches. Slips, dumping it down into the post, but some of those schemes were not being allowed to being used because the enforcement of our rules was not up to par with their desire. So that if one person in defending pick and roll could both show and wrap and hold someone back from slipping, that forced more isolation basketball. And so through these mini meetings, and they occur throughout the year, we came to the understanding that our freedom of movement guidelines that have been on the books for many years needed to be more stringently enforced, and that's what we're going to do this year. In particular, we're going to make sure we focus on wraps on the perimeter, holds, two-handed pushes that steer screeners or steer defenders in a certain way. And in the post, we wanted to make sure that the reroutes and the impedes were being enforced properly so that we had a more beautiful, free-flowing game in which the best athletes in the world, which is what we have, are allowed to show their talents.
Fascinating. Now, another point of emphasis for the upcoming 2018-19 season is respect for the game. What is the intention here, and how is this going to look different for NBA fans this upcoming season?
I don't think it's going to look any different. The respect for the game guidelines we've had for almost a decade now. And so I don't believe that there's any desire on our part to have more technical fouls or to adjudicate the standards that we've had for many years any differently. What we do want to do is be consistent in enforcing our guidelines so that coaches and players have the proper tools to be successful every night. So that if something occurs on Tuesday night, they can fully expect it when their opponent does it on Thursday night for it to be adjudicated fairly and properly and consistently from a night-to-night basis. And that's our goal there. Remember, the points of education tape that we send out is in large part not because necessarily one thing is wrong, but that it emphasizes the things that the values of our league hold true. And we value the fact that the game and the players is where the focus should be, not on the relationship with referees.
Monty, how many times throughout the year do you hear the comment, I don't even know what a travel is anymore? So talk to us about that point of emphasis for this upcoming season.
Well, I wish I had a nickel for every time I heard that, to answer your first question. I think traveling obviously is something that we always want to be emphasizing and being aware of. We've changed our mechanics with our referees so that we now have a system of sequencing where we look that includes feet first, the release of a proper dribble, and then get to the defensive player where we have traditionally focused our energy on. And by changing our mechanics, we have seen over the last several years an increase in our accuracy there. We want to continue to be accurate in adjudicating and enforcing traveling for the following reason. When we allow travels to occur through not doing good work and not sequencing our eyes to the proper places, those missed travels, those incorrect no calls, lead to fouls on the defensive team or open layups or open three-pointers. And that statistically is true, and so we have to do a better job so that defensive teams are not being placed at a disadvantage on a nightly basis.
Monty, it's going to be tough for you to top that suit in our next visit. You are really doing it with that. But we really appreciate your time, all the efforts to make the game an even better game of NBA basketball. Have a great season. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure to be here. You have a great season as well.
Still to come on Game Time, we have reaction from around the basketball world about the passing of Paul Allen. Have shown Miles Turner the money, 4 years, $80 million extension, so he will be the prized big man of the Pacers for a long time to come. 22 years old, comes off a down season of sorts, but he is in great shape and looking for big things, and so is Jamal Crawford in his new digs of Phoenix. He agrees to a one-year deal with the Suns. The three-time sixth man of the year keeps the train on the tracks. He's the only guy in NBA history to score 50 or more with 4 different teams, and he, of course, is the four-point play king in all NBA history. And recapping our top story, Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has passed away at the age of 65, and there is all kinds of reaction on social media to the passing of the late, great Mr. Allen. And LaMarcus Aldridge says Paul Allen will never be forgotten. He was a great owner, amazing leader, truly wonderful person. I'm forever grateful that we got to share so many great moments together. His passion and dedication will be deeply missed. My heart goes out to his family and friends. Damian Lillard says, at a loss for words, RIP to a great man. Much love and respect. Evan Turner says, rest in peace to this beautiful mind. You'll be forever remembered and missed. God bless you, Paul. And from the other side of the United States, Dwayne Wade says, just woke up to the sad news about Paul Allen. My family and I's deepest condolences go out to the family and friends of who I heard nothing but great things about. Hashtag rest in peace, Paul Allen. Well said by current Blazers and the classy Dwayne Wade. And just a moment for one more thought here on Paul Allen. Obviously, we're all hit and devastated with the news of him passing today.
I mean, the reaction from the basketball world, the world of philanthropy, and also the business world lets you know the type of man that he was and the life that he led. And, you know, our condolences out to he and his family and all our prayers.
Yeah, the fact that the guys that played there feel so warmly towards him and the person he was, they get a chance to know him better. From the outside looking in, Zeke, we don't know a lot of the owners and stuff, but you know your owner, you know the guy that's, you know, running your team, and those guys all just, you could see that they felt very strongly that this man was just a positive influence in their life.
No question about it. And, of course, Tuesday will be a TNT doubleheader, and we get basketball for real.
For real.
For real.
On the real.
Yeah.
A couple of great matchups. You got the Sixers and the Celtics. You got the Thunder and the Warriors on ring night. For Kevin, Isaiah, and our crew, I'm Rick. We'll see you soon.